Okay, guys, so welcome back. This is the lecture from section 2.4 about circles. So there's three objectives which we're going to cover in this class. So the first one, so there are three objectives. Okay, objective one will be write the standard form. So write the standard form of equation of a circle. The second objective is graph a circle. And the third objective is work with the general form. Work with general form of the equation of a circle. Okay, so that's three objectives in this lesson. So first I'm going to talk about standard form of equation of a circle. So first we're going to talk about standard form. Okay, so we're going to focus on the standard form. So let me just give you quickly the definition of a circle. Maybe let's start with this. So a circle is a set of points on the xy axis, xy plane, that are a fixed distance r from a fixed point h comma k, and the fixed distance r is called radius, and the fixed point hk is called center of a circle. The center of a circle. So this definition tells you that the circle set of points which have the same distance r from the center. So every single point which has the same distance from the center of the circle, and that distance is equal to the radius of the circle, it's create the equation of a circle. It's create the graph of a circle. So very important that you guys can recognize the standard form. The standard form, again, here, first I talk about definition of a circle, but the standard form of a circle looks that way. X minus h square plus y minus k square equal r to a second power. Okay, so this is the standard form of a circle, and we know that r represents radius, and the coordinates h comma k represents the center of the circle. So to build the equation of the circle, of course, you need to know radius and you need to know the center. So you need to have those given information. Okay, so this is how that looks like. You have coordinate plane xy. And this is, let's say, center. H is the x coordinate of the center. K represents the y coordinate of the center. And we have a radius r. Okay, so that will be radius. And again, and we'll just draw the circle. Okay. And of course, any point from a center to any point right here on the circle has equal radius. Okay, so of course I draw that by hand, so that circle is not the perfect. Okay, now when the center, so I'm going to give you the theorem. If the center of the circle is the origin, so technically point 0, comma 0, then the standard form is just x squared plus y squared equal radius squared. So this is the standard form of the circle only when the center is equal to the origin, which is point 0, comma 0. So that means h and k, it's 0. That's why the equation is simplified. Okay, so next what we're going to do, I'm going to give you the definition of unit circle. So next, I'm going to give you the definition of unit circle. Okay, so definition of unit circle. If the radius r it's equal 1 unit, the circle which center is at the origin is called unit circle. And has equation. X squared plus y squared equal 1. So this is the equation of the unit circle. Unit circle centers at the origin and the radius of the circle is equal 1. Okay, so we actually like to teach trigonometry using unit circle. Okay, so unit circle centers at the origin and the radius of the circle is 1 unit. So this is the radius r. So 1 unit, 1 unit, and 1 unit. And we just draw the circle. Okay, so this is unit circle. Radius is equal 1 unit. Okay, let's do some examples. Write the standard form. of the equation of a circle with radius 5 and center -3, 6. Okay, so we're going to write the standard form of equation of the circle. So let's talk about solution. Standard form equation of the circle. So let me just copy that. Standard form of the circle has the form x minus h square plus y minus k square equal reduced to a second power. So let's talk about given information. What we know, what is given? Given is the center. The center, that's the coordinates h comma k. So in our case, center is -3, 6. So that means h, it's going to be replaced with -3. And k, which is the y coordinate of a center, it's going to be replaced with 6. So that's given, okay? Also, what else we know? We also know that the radius of the circle, it's equal 5 units. So we're going to substitute. So we have x. So when you create the equation of the circle, of course, x and y, that's the only variables. Everything else has to be substitute. So we have x minus h. So h, it's equal to -3. So I have x minus -3 square plus y minus k. K, it's equal 6 to a second power equal reduced to a second power, which is 5 square. Okay. So when you write the standard form equation of the circle, so you don't FOIL, you just leave those perfect squares. So just simplify what you have inside of the parentheses. So that will be x plus 3 square plus y minus 6 square, it's equal to 25. So that's how you're going to leave the solution. So this is the standard form of equation of the equation of a circle. Okay, so don't simplify, don't FOIL anything, because then you will get to the general form, which we'll talk soon. Standard form, you're leaving those perfect squares the way they are. Okay, because x plus 3, we call it perfect square because this is x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, so we have it. Now we're going to graph a circle. We're not going to spend too much time on graphing circles. That's the second objective. Graph a circle. Of course, on your homework and on a test, you're going to use MyMATLAB. So practice graphing circle. I'm just going to do that by hand. So let's do just one example. Graph the equation. We have x plus 3 square plus y minus 2 square equals 16. So to graph the circle, we need center, which again, that's h comma k, right? We need center, and of course we need radius. So you need to read the center and radius from the equation. So here you have standard form. So don't forget that the standard form, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal radius squared. So look what happened. You have to just match. So here, if you will just match, you see that this part, negative h is equal 3. That means h is equal negative 3. So that's my x coordinate. Also here when you match, we have y, and we have negative k, it's equal negative 2. So that means I saying negative k, it's equal negative 2, so k it's equal positive 2. So the y coordinate will be 2. Also, I'm always telling to my students that the number which you see inside of the parentheses, it's always the opposite. So the h will be always opposite of what you see. That's why h is equal negative 3. K, you see negative 2. So k will be the opposite of what you see, which is positive 2. But I'm just showing detail work, okay? Because the formula has h minus h plus y minus k. That's why the coordinates of the center are always the opposite of the number which you see in the parentheses. Okay, now radius. Let's talk about radius. What we know about radius, that from the formula that r squared, from the formula that r squared represents 16, so r squared is equal to 16. So to get radius, you will just need to take the square root of 16, which is 4. So the radius is 4. Okay, so now when I know center, now when I know the radius, we can graph it. So you guys will need to graph it using MyMATLAB. I'm just quickly going to graph it by hand. So we have center. So first you're going to find the center. In your case, when you graph it, you have to, from the toolbox, you have to select the graph which shows circle. And the first point which I'm going to put on my coordinate plane, it's the center, which is negative 3, 2. So negative 3, 2, that's my center. I know radius is equal 4. So what I'm going to do, I just need 4 more points to graph by hand circle. So I'm going 4 units up because radius is 4. From the center, I'm going 4 units up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I will be right here. Now from the center, I'm going 4 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. From the center, I'm just going across. I'm going 4 units to the right. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 right here when x is equal 1. And from the center, I'm going 4 units down. So 2, 3, 4, somewhere here. And then I will just draw the circle. So again, I'm just drawing that by hand, but you guys have a graphing tool on MyMATLAB. So there's no need to find more points unless you really want it. I'm just going across, going from the center, 4 up, 4 down, 4 to the right, from to the left, and just connect the points. Next example. So really, I'm not going to spend more time on graphing the circle. Next example. In next example, I want to do problem when you have to find the intercepts of the circle. So for the circle, x plus 3 square plus y minus 2 square equals 16. Find the intercepts if any. Again, if they talk intercepts, we have to find x and y intercepts, if any, because circle doesn't really have to intersect any of the axes. Okay, each circle is different. And graph it. And graph the circle. So we'll just graph it one more time. Okay, so we have the standard form of the circle. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to find x-intercepts, if any. So to find the x-intercepts, we make y equals 0 and solve the equation for x. Okay, so x-intercepts. So our equation is x plus 3 squared plus, we're going to make y equals 0. So 0 minus 2 squared equals 16. So here I have x plus 3 squared plus 0 minus 2 is just negative 2 to a second power. It's equals 16. So that will give me x plus 3 squared plus 4 equals 16. And what I recommended, don't FOIL. The faster way to solve that will be just moving that 4 to the left side. So subtract 4 from both sides. And that will give you x plus 3 squared equals 16 minus 4, which is 12. And just solve that using the square root method. Using square root method. So you can always solve the quadratic equation with a square root method when you have that perfect square. And now I'm just going to take the square root of both sides. And the square root of the second power, they undo each other, so we end up with x plus 3 equal. Don't forget that when you take the square root, you end up with positive and negative square root of 12. Let's just simplify. Square root of 12, you can break it down as the square root of 4 times square root of 3. From square root of 4, we're getting 2, so this is 2 radicals of 3. Okay, so we have x plus 3, you can remove those parentheses, it's equal plus minus 2 radicals of 3. Again, let's just get used to that not all the time our solutions are beautiful. And now, to solve for x, so again, you will subtract 3 from both sides and you're getting x equal positive negative 2 radicals of 3 minus 3. What that means that you will have two x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are 2 radicals of 3 minus 3, 2 radicals of 3 minus 3, which is about, because you will need to graph it, 0.46. And the second x-intercepts will be negative 2 radicals of 3 minus 3. And this is about, since this is irrational, so just round it, this is about negative 6.46. Okay, so we have two x-intercepts, okay, which means you have points 2 radicals of 3 minus 3, comma 0, and negative 2 radicals of 3 minus 3, comma 0. And just on the top, 2 radicals of 3 minus 3, it's about negative positive 0.46. And negative 2 radicals of 3 minus 3, it's about negative 6.46. I'm just putting that way because we're going to graph it. So when you find the x-intercepts, next what you're going to do, you're going to find the y-intercept. So second, find y-intercepts. So to find the y-intercepts, you're going to make x equals 0 and solve the equation for y. Okay, so going back to our equation, x plus 3, I just don't want to copy, that's fine. So going back to our problem, again, x plus 3 square plus y minus 2 square equals 16. We're going to find the y-intercept, so we're going to make x equals 0. So we have 0 plus 3 square plus y minus 2 square equals 16. The same idea, solve this equation using square root method. So here we have 3 to the second power, which is 9, plus y minus 2 square equals 16. So solve the same idea using square root method. We keep the perfect square on the left side. So you keep that perfect square on the left side. So we're going to subtract 9 from both sides, cancel, and we end up with y minus 2 square equal 16 minus 9, which is 7. And now we just have to take the square root of both sides. So that cancel, and we end up with y minus 2 equal positive negative square root of 7. And now we just add 2 to both sides because you need to solve for y. And we're getting y equal positive negative radical of 7 plus 2. So what that means that we also have two y-intercepts. We have two y-intercepts. So the first y will be positive square root of 7 plus 2, which is about, since it's irrational, 4.65. And the second y-intercepts will be negative square root of 7 plus 2, which is about negative 0.65. Which means, because we're going to graph it, that means you have 0.0 comma 4.65, and the second you have 0 comma negative 0.65. So what happened? Nice, we have two x-intercepts, two y-intercepts, and to graph the circle, third, find the radius from the equation. You need the radius. Find the radius from the equation because you need to graph it. So just for graphing part, I'm adding the third step. You have to find the radius from the equation and the center. So you guys already know how to do it. The equation of the circle is x plus 3 square plus y minus 2 square equals 16. So we know that the standard form of the circle is x minus h square plus y minus k square equal radius square. So to find the radius, like you guys see, radius square has to match with 16. That means radius is equal square root of 16, which is 4. And again, since we're talking about radius, I'm not putting negative 4. Radius represents the distance. So your radius can never be negative because there is no sense for radius of the circle being negative unit, negative number. That's why when I'm taking the square root of a number, I'm only putting positive. Now the center h comma k, again, h, you're going to check what you have in parentheses with x. You see positive 3, remember, just take opposite, negative 3, because the equation of a circle has negatives in parentheses, I mean negative sign in the parenthesis. And to find k, you see in parentheses negative 2, so just take the opposite of what you see, which will be positive 2. Okay, so we have this and we have this. So now I can graph it. Step 4, graph. So we're going to graph it. Here we should have nice circle because we have many points. We have x and y intercepts and radius and center. So I'm going to start with a center, negative 3, 2. Center. Now, what else? I have 2 y-intercept, 0, 4.65, 0, 4.65, so 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 4, this is 5, 4.65. So somewhere here. The second y-intercept is 0, negative 0.65, 0, negative 0.65. So this is negative 1, so somewhere here. Okay, not saying it's perfect. Now x-intercepts. For x-intercepts, the first x-intercepts was about 0.46. 0.46, so if this is 1, so 0.46 somewhere here. And the second x-intercepts was negative 6.46, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is negative 6, this is negative 7, negative 6.46, somewhere here. Okay, so this is the center. And I know radius is 4. So just quickly so I'm just adding a couple more points. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere here. Okay, so my circle will be going that way. I'm sorry, it's not the best circle, it's by hand. But you guys will have much better circle because using my MATLAB. Okay, so in this problem, it was a lot. Okay, I cover really a lot in this problem. I review with you guys how to find the x and y intercepts. In this case, our circle has x and y intercepts. And also, I went back and teach you again how to find the radius and the center from the equation of a circle and just how to graph it. Next one, I would say the next section will be more difficult because we're going to work with the general form, and like with linear equation, general form, it's always the one which is the less useful. So when we have a general form, we always trying to convert to a standard form. So I'm going to give you the definition of the general form of the circle, and what we're going to do with that general form, we're going to convert it to standard form. Okay. So next objective is work with the general form of the equation of the circle. So let me give you the general form. So the general form of a circle looks like this: x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c equals 0. This is the general form. How are you going to get general form? You take the standard form and you FOIL. Okay, just remember A, B, C are coefficients. Coefficients means you're going to have in numbers. Why nobody likes general form? Because when you have general form of a circle, you can't tell what is the center and you can't tell what is the radius of that circle. So it's not useful at all. So what we're doing with the general form of the circle, we convert it to a standard form. Okay. So let me give you the example. So in this example, I want you to graph the equation x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 12 equals 0. So like before, you guys saw me graphing. To graph the circle, I need center and I need the radius. General form doesn't give me that. So what you need to do, so the note will be, you need to convert the general form to the standard form. So standard form, don't forget that that's the one x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal radius squared, because from a standard form we will be able to graph it because we can quickly figure out what is the center and what is the radius. Okay, so how are we going to do it? I'm going to write down all the steps how to do it, and that's the section which I skip with you when we were solving quadratic equations by completing square root method. I mentioned to you that by completing the squares that I will go back to that with circles. So here we go. So this is how we're going to convert. So first step. So again, I'm going to give you first steps to convert general form to the standard form, and you guys need to learn that. I'm going to write the steps and explain them based on our example. So first, what you're going to do, first, group x and y together, group x terms together, and y terms together, okay, so this is what we're doing first. So this is our equation. This is the general form, x squared plus y squared. So let me just copy that. Why doesn't want to copy? Doesn't matter. Okay, so we have x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 12 equals 0. So first what we're going to do, we're going to group x's together. So let me just rearrange the equations. I have x squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 6y plus 12 equals 0. So I'm grouping them together. Grouping means you're putting the parenthesis. So x's you're putting together, y's you're putting together. Okay, so that's the first step. Second, you're going to move Constant. Constant is the number which stands by itself on the left side to the right side. So what that means, in our case, the constant is 12. 12 we need to move to the right side. So to do that, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. And again, we just continue. So we will end up with x squared plus 4x plus, in parentheses, y squared minus 6y equal negative 12. So again, don't forget that we want to convert this equation to equation which looks like standard form, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal reduced to a second power. That's what we're trying to build. So that's step 2. So again, I'm giving you steps like an algorithm, which if you guys follow them, it should work all the time. So the third step will be calculate b over 2 from each group. Okay, so b, what is b? B is the coefficient in front of x and the coefficient in front of y. So that's your b's. Okay, so you have 2 of them. Okay, so b are the coefficients, okay, which you have in front of x and y. So let me just copy this. So we have x squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 6y equal negative 12. So what we're trying to build, in each group perfect square, like something like x plus 3 to a second power. That's where I'm going with that. So I'm calculating b over 2 from each group. So in this case, b it's equal 4. So this is 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And in this group, to calculate b over 2, the b, it's the coefficient in front of y with the sign in front of it. So we have negative 6 divided by 2. That will give you negative 3. Okay, so we calculate b over 2. And that b over 2, I'm putting that in a cloud. Okay, because, okay, the algorithm, when we're going to build later that equation of a circle, it's always x and that b over 2, whatever your b over 2 is. So that's the number which I will be putting in a cloud. Okay, square plus y plus b over 2. Okay, that's the second b over 2 square equals something. Again, we're going to keep building that. Okay, so by having b over 2, and I'm teaching you a little bit shortcut. So I already know that we will have something, our equation of a circle, the left side will look this way. X, and my b over 2 was positive 2, so I have x plus 2. Okay, and that was that b over 2 square plus y plus b over 2. So the second b over 2 was negative 3. That's why you have a minus. That's your b over 2, okay? From the second. Square equals something. And we'll build the right side in a second, okay? So this is step 3. Step 4. And again, when you have step 3, I just recommend it to use that shortcut and slowly start building your equation, okay? Step 4 will be add to each parenthesis and to the right side of the equation, how to say both, add to each parentheses and to the right side of equations both b over 2 square. Okay, hopefully it's not too much, but okay. So we are here. We have that x squared plus 4x, I'm going to leave some space, plus y squared minus 6y, I'm going to leave some space, equal negative 12. That's what we have so far. We calculate b over 2. And just the note here, that b over 2 will be in parentheses of the final equation. Like you guys see, okay? That 2, it's here, and that negative 3, it's here. So you already have 90%. That's what I mean by that shortcut. Okay, next, add to each parentheses and to the right side of the equation both b over 2 squared. So going back here, the b over 2 from the first group was equal to, but we need to square it. Okay, so 2 squared will give you 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter that 4 to the first group. Now from the second group, your b over 2 was equal negative 3. However, here we talk about b over 2 squared. So when you square negative 3, you end up with 9. So we're going to add 9 to a second parenthesis. And so again, 4 added, 9 added to a second group. So look what happened here. What we adding to the left side of the equation, you also need to add it, the same numbers to the right side of the equation. So since I'm adding 4 to the first group, I will need to add 4 to the right side of the equation. Since I'm adding 9 to a second parenthesis, I will also have to add 9 to the right side. Okay, so here don't forget that you have those b over 2 square. Okay, so that was b over 2 square from the second group, and this is just keep it. Okay, and in orange it's going to be b over 2 square. Okay, so this is b over 2 square from the first parenthesis. So we need to add them to the right side. So look what happened, okay, to our equation. We end up with x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus, in the second parenthesis, you have y squared minus 6y plus 9, which is b over 2 squared, equal, and here we have negative 12 plus 4 plus 4 plus 9. Okay, so we're going to simplify that a little bit. So again, we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus y squared minus 6y plus y equal negative 12 plus 4 plus 9. So that will give us 1. Okay, So we almost there, okay? When you guys have this, okay? So I want to quickly make a note that this is perfect square. Square. Perfect square means that when you factor this, you're getting the same two repeating solutions. So one solution which repeats twice. This is perfect square. So what will be the next step, which is fifth step? Factor each perfect square. Which means each group. So quickly, I'm just doing the long version once. So you have that x squared plus 4x plus 4. To factor this one, you will end up with x plus 2 times x plus 2, which is the same as x plus 2 squared. That's why I'm calling that perfect square. But look what happened. Do you guys remember step 3? When I told you that b over 2 will be always in parentheses, okay, because I already know how that logarithm works, that when you calculate that b over 2, right here, when you factor, when you do all those steps, that perfect square, that number right here, it's always b over 2, always, okay? So look what happened here. The second group, when you have that y squared minus 6y plus 9. Okay, to factor this one, you will end up with x minus 3 times x minus 3, which is the same as x minus 3 squared. We have one repeating solution. That's why I call it perfect square. And just remember that shortcut, that this number right here, if you're not fan of factoring, it's always your b over 2. So going back, when I gave you that shortcut, you see, when I will start building them right here, the left side of the equation of a circle, I already knew that on the left side we have y minus 3 squared, because I know the algorithm, the way it works, that b over 2, it always goes inside of the parenthesis after factoring. Okay, so we factor that. So we're going to rewrite it right here as replace that x squared plus 4x plus 4 as x plus 2 squared. Again, that's just b over 2 plus y squared minus 6y plus y plus 9. You're going to replace with x, I'm sorry, not x, y minus 3. Y minus 3 squared equal, and on the right side we have that 1, and here we have it again. Just remember, this is should be over 2. So here we have it. This is the standard form of a circle. So standard form of the circle, I'm going to skip graphing, but now I know that the center, that h comma k, so h will be right here what you see next to x in the parenthesis but take opposite, which will be negative 2. K will be what you see next to y in parenthesis but take opposite, which will be 3. So that's the center. Radius square always match with the number which you have on the right side. So again, don't forget that that's radius square. So radius squared is equal 1. So radius is just square root of 1, which is 1. And we can just graph it. So I gave you many steps how to convert general form to the standard form. I don't know if I can really write this down in one equation because I don't want to make mistakes. So this is x after grouping plus b over 2 square plus y plus b over 2 square. Again, that's a shortcut, but I recommend you to follow all the steps. That will be the coefficient plus b over 2 square plus b over 2 square. And that will give you eventually reduced squares. So if you really need to use it, okay, the shortcut. So this is how that shortcut works. After step 2, when you will group them, so after grouping, you can apply that shortcut. Like you see, when you group them, x, like in this case, x squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 6y equal the coefficient. So that will work after grouping. Shortcut will work after you complete step 2. After you complete step 2. But again, I don't like to just use shortcuts. That's like emergency, okay, if we stuck. Okay, I think I will do one more problem like this, and the rest I will let you guys study. So let me just pause that video for a second. Okay, guys, so I'm going back. Just a couple of things. I want to add one extra note here, that when you guys will group it, okay, sometimes, not happen too often, but sometimes I will just add note. No, not this way. I'm trying to make it easier because you're going to see based on the example. Only note. Let's squeeze it. Note. Only in cases if you have coefficient in front of x squared and y squared, first you should, going to see that I have, that's why I pick example to show you. First you should divide each term by that coefficient. Okay, so let me show you why I'm putting that note. Okay, let's just do example. Okay, so another example. Okay, convert the general form to the standard form. And this is what is given. We have 2x squared plus 2y squared plus 8x plus 7 equals 0. So this problem is a little different because look what happened. You have coefficient in front of x squared and in front of y squared. So before grouping, in this case, we need to divide each by 2 to get that x squared and y squared by itself without coefficient. So we need to divide each by 2. So I'm dividing each term by 2. 2, 2, 2, and 2. Okay, so that will give you x squared plus y squared plus 4x plus 7 over 2 equals 0. Okay, so now we don't have any coefficients in front of x squared and y squared, so I'm moving to all the steps which I gave you. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, now I'm ready to group x terms and y terms together. Okay, so we did that. So next, group x terms and y terms together. Okay, so that means we putting x terms together in parentheses. I have x squared plus 4x. We putting y terms together. I have only y squared. There's nothing else, so you don't need anything else. If you want it, you can just put 0. Plus 7 over 2 equals 0. So again, that 7 over 2, like you see, I didn't group with y because 7 over 2 is coefficient. Okay, next, move 7 over 2 to the left side. So to do that, I'm going to subtract 7 over 2 from both sides. That cancel. And we have x squared plus 4x plus y squared plus 0 equal negative 7 over 2. And next, I'm going to use the shortcut. Okay. So next, we calculate b over 2 from each group. So we're getting 4 divided by 2, which is 2. I'm putting that in a cloud. And I'm calculating b over 2 from the second group. Again, b over 2, it's the coefficient which you should have in front of y. So again, since there's nothing with y, so we're having just 0 divided by 2, which is 0. Okay. So you guys remember the shortcut which I gave you, that the standard form will look that way. X squared plus that b over 2, which is 2, plus, I'm sorry, just x, plus y plus b over 2, which in our case, the b over 2 is 0, square, equal the coefficient, plus b over 2 square plus b over 2 square. Okay, so next, the b over 2 square, it's 2 to a second power, which is 4. Here, the b over 2 square is 0 to a second power, which is 0. So when you will be building that standard form, we will have here negative 7 over 2 plus b over 2 square, which is 4, plus b over 2 square, which is 0. So our standard form will look that way. X plus 2 square plus y plus 0 square equal negative 7 over 2 plus 4 plus 0. So that's x plus 2 square plus y plus 0 square. And again, we have negative 7 over 2 plus 4. Negative 7 over 2, it's negative 3.5 plus 4. That will give you 0.5, which is 1/2. Okay, and here we go. We have it. Okay, and if I will ask you, so this is the standard form. Standard form. And if I will ask you what is the center, you can quickly answer that the center is negative 2 comma 0. And radius square, it's equal 1/2. So to find the radius, you will need to take the square root of that. So r it's equal square root of 1 divided by square root of 2. So this is 1 divided by square root of 2. My MATLAB won't take that solution most likely. So you will need to like rationalize the denominator, which means when you have a radical on the bottom of the fraction, you multiply top and bottom of the fraction by that radical. And that will become 1 times square root of 2, which is square root of 2. And here you have denominator, you have square root of 2 times square root of 2, which is just radical of 2 divided by radical of 4, which is radical of 2 divided by 2. So that's how you should express radius. Okay, maybe it doesn't look better, but we never keep square root in the denominator of the fraction. So I hope this example help you. Just for those who need one extra, we'll just do one extra example like this. Okay, so when you have to convert, so that's A, let's do B, because I think that's the hardest part, when you need to convert it. Okay, let's give you something like this. X squared plus y squared minus x plus 2y equal, plus 1 equals 0. So here we don't have any coefficients in front of x squared and y squared, so we're good to go, and we're going to group x and y's together. So again, this is x squared minus x plus y squared plus 2y plus 1 equals 0. Next, you're going to move positive 1 to the right side. So we'll subtract 1 from both sides, and we have x squared minus x plus y squared plus 2y equal negative 1. Next, what you're going to do, calculate b over 2. So b over 2 from the first group, b it's a number in front of x, so you have negative 1 divided by 2, and that will be in parentheses. The second b over 2, so b again, it's a coefficient in front of y, so we have 2 divided by 2, that's equal 1, that will be in the parentheses. Okay, so when you guys here, you can start building the standard form, which will be x minus 1/2 square. So again, don't forget that this is that b over 2 plus y plus 1, because 1 is positive 1. So just remember that this is your b over 2 square. It's equal to the coefficient negative 1 plus b over 2 square plus b over 2 square. So that will be x minus half square plus y plus 1 square equal negative 1. The b over 2 here was negative 1/2. Don't forget to square it. Plus the b over 2 from the second group was positive 1. Don't forget to square it. Okay? So just simplify the right side, and we have x minus 1/2 square plus y plus 1 square equal negative 1 plus 1 over 4 plus 1. Cancel, cancel. And the standard form is x minus half square plus y plus 1 square equal 1 over 4. Okay? And this is the standard form. So I'm using shortcuts to just help you guys to study. So I know that the center h comma k is 1/2 negative 1. Radius square it's 1 over 4, which means to find the radius you will need to take the square root of 1 over 4. So this is square root of 1 divided by square root of 4, which is 1/2. So that's the radius. Okay, I think that's it with converting. I just have one extra example with the tangent of the line. Not really difficult, but I think you will see it. You may see that on the homework. So let me give you the last example. This is different. So last example, find the standard form of the equation of a circle with given information. So what we know that the center is 2, 3, and tangent to the x-axis. And I quickly want to explain what means tangent to the x-axis. That means circle is touching x-axis. Okay, circle is touching at x-axis. So I'm going to graph it. Okay, so solution. So we know center, you have 2, 3. So center in the standard form of equation of the circle is h, k. So we know that h is equal to 2, k is equal to 3. Okay. Now you need to find the radius. Find radius. Okay. To find that radius, use info that the circle is tangent to the x-axis. That means the circle touch x-axis. Okay, so the best way to see that radius, you guys want to graph it. We know the center 2, 3. Okay, and that information tangent to the x-axis. So if this is my center, so I know my circle, and I'm just going to again just graph it like that, because tangent to the x-axis means that my circle has to touch the x-axis. So knowing that information, to calculate the radius, you just need to count the units from the center to the x-axis. Okay, so you count that distance. This is our radius. So again, tangent to the x-axis means your circle is touching x-axis, okay? So knowing that information, look what happened. We know the distance from the center to the x-axis, it's right here. Like you can count that distance. It's 3 units. Again, you're just going by the height of the center, which is y coordinate in this case. So radius, I can read it from the graph that it's, look, from here to here. Okay, you have to count that distance. So we see you have 3 units. So that's how you're going to figure out the radius. Just draw the graph, sketch the graph of the circle. Okay, so now I know that radius is equal to 3, and I can build the equation of the circle. So standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal radius squared. Okay. So we know that again, h is 2. So we have x minus 2 squared plus y minus k is 3 equal radius, which is 3 to a second power. Okay, so don't forget that the center right here, it's 2 comma 3. Okay, hk. And just simplify. So this is x minus 2 square plus y minus 3 square equal 9. Okay. So I think, okay, what else you may see it? Similar problem to this one. I know it's a long lecture, but again, you may have to do write the equation of a circle in center form when you know the center, 4 comma negative 2, and tangent to the line x equal 1. So if you have problem like this, you know center, so you know h and you know k. So your equation of a circle is x minus h square plus y minus k square equal radius square. So we will have x minus 4 plus y minus negative 2 square equal radius square. And to find that radius, just graph it. In this case, we're saying that your circle is tangent to the line x equal 1, which means your circle touched the line x equal 1. So this is what you're going to do. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to... So center 4 comma negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 comma negative 2. This is the center. Okay? And line x equal 1, the line x equal 1, this is the vertical line. So find 1 on the x-axis and just draw the vertical line. Okay, so this is the line x equal 1. And to find the radius, just count the distance. Again, your circle will be, this is just a sketch, graphing, undo this. Okay, so your circle will be touching the line x equal 1, and again, tangent means that it should be under 90-degree angle. So to find the radius, just count that distance. Don't forget that center had coordinates 2 comma 3. So, what? Oh, I'm sorry, not 2 comma 3. What I'm talking about? The center, it's 4 comma negative 2. So this is 4, right? So you're just going to count the distance from 1 to 4, because this is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So radius, it's equal 4. And so 1, 2, 3, radius is equal 3. There's 3 units here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's how you're going to know what is the radius of the circle. And again, you don't need to sketch the graph, but radius it's 3. So it should be something like this. Okay, that will be our circle. So radius, it's equal 3. So we have x minus 4 square plus y plus 2 square equal 3 to a second power, which will be 9, and that will be the equation. Again, I went over many problems. Hope that will help you to study section 2.4. 2.4, I think the most complicated part is that converting general form to the standard form, but hopefully the examples which I went over will help you. Okay, so thank you for watching.